Hi and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be doing a channeled love letter from your person. There are 3 groups to choose from. Group 1 is the gold pumpkin, along with this letter. Group 2 is the orange pumpkin, along with this letter. And group 3 is the green pumpkin, along with this letter. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to. I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you would like to jump ahead, which I do recommend using so that you can skip over me shuffling cards in between groups to clear the energy of the group I've just read for and tap into the energy of the group I'm about to read for. So again, I'll give you a minute. Please use the timestamps and we'll get into your reading. Hi, Group 1. You chose the gold pumpkin along with this letter, which I will read in just a minute. I'm going to start with some tarot to kind of feel into what's going on currently with this person, where are they at energetically, some clues about what's happening in the connection, and look at some zodiac signs as well. Okay, so we have the 8 of Wands, which is fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So this can talk about somebody who is planning on communicating, who is wanting to reach out. There can be a lot of telepathy that's happening right now in this connection between you, where words that are not being spoken in the 3D sense maybe are coming through again through the form of telepathic messages, a lot of dreams that are happening. Maybe there's an apology that needs to be owed, something that has really happened in this person's life that they want to tell you about. They want to share some kind of good news, or they've been reflecting about what has happened in the circumstances with you, and something has become clear to them. There are words that they had held back in the past that they are now wanting to speak. And we've also got the 5 of Wands, so more of that fire energy, and this can talk about the energy of being very conflicted. Somebody who's going back and forth about reaching out or remaining silent. You might be sensing this energetically as feeling this person very intensely in your auric field, only to have that energy go cold once again. A lot of signs and synchronicities coming up, and then, you know, having nothing happen, having kind of that dead air, that silence, and sort of the vacillation between those two polarities of feeling them very intensely and then feeling them being very remote. And all of that can again be indicative of some kind of an internal conflict or struggle that's going on within them. This urge to reach out versus kind of the inclination to kind of stay silent and back in the comfort zone of wherever things stand between you currently. We also have the Lovers, which is Gemini energy. So this again talks about this desire to speak some kind of truth to you, to reconcile, to move closer towards you. This can also talk about the energy of an epiphany that has happened for this person, where they are recognizing you as their soulmate. They're recognizing you as their twin flame. Maybe some information in that regard has come to them in a very serendipitous manner, or something you might have mentioned to them before. The idea of twin flames or soulmates. And this person could have really kind of scoffed at that, sort of laughed that off, or really denied that. But it feels that something has really changed. Something has come to their attention and their awareness, maybe in the form of dreams, or somebody who might have kind of laughed off the idea and then quietly and behind closed doors has been doing some research about these things and is starting to resonate with that. Somebody also who could have been looking into why they are feeling you so intensely energetically, maybe if you're at a distance from one another. And in the course of researching these things, have again come upon this idea of twin flames and soulmates. With the lovers, this does also talk about this element of choice, which ties in with that kind of conflict energy with the Five of Wands, where this person feels that they're really at a crossroads. There is this impetus to move towards you, and at the same time this urge to kind of stay back, stay hidden, stay behind the curtain, stay in the shadows where things have maybe been for quite a while between you. We've also got the Nine of Pentacles, so that's Earth energy, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. And this can talk about this energy of independence, something that they're really noticing about you, either feeling into you energetically and recognizing how you've started to really take your power back from this situation. In some way, you've gone through some kind of a glow up in your life. Your situation has changed. Maybe a lot of abundance is coming in for you. You've taken the focus off of this person, off of this connection in some capacity, maybe completely, and have kind of redirected that focus onto yourself. And it's created this energetic ripple into this, that this person has really felt, that is now kind of creating this urge to reach out, to create movement in this situation. Maybe having really either tapped into you energetically and sensing this glow up, this shift, or this can also talk about somebody who is maybe looking you up online, maybe, seeing a lot of these changes, seeing you, post about these things, or even just if it's pictures that they're able to see on social media, they're recognizing a difference in the glow that you have. Again, evidence of that glow up that has happened where things seem to be very stable for you or moving in that direction. You feel more confident. Your energy is appearing stronger to them than it had in the past. They're recognizing that maybe some difficulties that you'd faced in your life previously, or due to the circumstances with this person, that in some way you've taken steps to kind of correct that, to move beyond that, to shift your focus in a more positive direction. And they're seeing that, they're recognizing that, and it's creating this urge to move towards you. A feeling also of maybe some things that have really shifted in their life, some abundance that has happened, maybe an abundance mindset that they have cultivated, that there's again this urge to kind of reach out and share this good news with you. Or on the flip side of that, they're really feeling that kind of space and that distance between you, where there's this longing, this wishing to not be on the outside of your life looking in, but this desire and kind of this energy of regret that they're not there with you to enjoy kind of the fruits of whatever you've been investing in, that they're not there with you to directly celebrate whatever's going on in your life in terms of abundance. We've also got the Ten of Wands, so more of that fire energy, and this can again talk about things that they're really wanting to speak to you, some kind of truth, some kind of long hidden feelings, or some kind of revelation that they have had, some kind of an epiphany or an awareness, that they're just kind of carrying this around silently. It's weighing heavily on them. Again, this element of choice where there's this conflict about remain silent, keep things in the status quo, or make some kind of movement forward in this situation. And it's becoming very difficult for this person to remain silent, or to keep this very close to the chest. Maybe words or affirmations or loving declarations that they hadn't made in the past that have really weighed heavily upon them. They've carried that with them. It has now come to the point of burden where, as your life is changing, as your life is shifting, as things are changing for this person, there's this weight, almost this unfinished business between the both of you, and this urge that they are having to move in your direction, to speak some kind of truth, to make some kind of a declaration, either to provide closure or to open up the lines of communication and the possibility of a new chapter between you. And we've also got the Hanged Man. So this can talk about communication that is blocked between you, that's completely cut off. Maybe this person had blocked you, and that they're starting to kind of, from a very sort of sneaky perspective, they're starting to really to observe you. For me as a reader, this Hanged Man energy can talk about somebody who's watching you in a way you wouldn't expect. So this can talk about fake profiles, or somebody who is maybe asking around about you in kind of a roundabout way, almost this energy of a fly on the wall, kind of observing you. seeing what's going on, really liking what they are seeing as well. This hanged man energy, this is, illumination and this different perspective. They're seeing you from a new light. They're recognizing your value and your worth, or even the endurance that you have, the ability to kind of pick up the pieces of your life in some way, or your ability to transcend some obstacles or some difficulties that either they put you through or that they knew that you were dealing with in the past. And the shift that they have sensed with you, perhaps even just energetically, if you don't have social media, if they're not able to see any of this taking place, if you're not being very public with this, it's something that just energetically they're feeling that, they're tapping into that, they're noticing that, and it's creating almost this urge, this curiosity within them to explore this further. They may have even gone to lengths such as looking you up online or trying to ask about you, perhaps coming up short in that capacity, finding themselves at a dead end because there's not a whole lot of information out there about you. And all of this is kind of adding to this energy of conflict where they know that they need to take, further steps. They need to come out of this kind of this sneaky or hidden or cloaked energy and be more direct if they hope to, find the information that they're seeking. Somebody who's really at this point being tasked with trusting the nudges, trusting the inclination, trusting what it is that they're feeling energetically, and taking a more direct approach toward reinstigating communication, maybe unblocking those lines of communication between the both of you, reaching out in some capacity. With the Hanged Man, this does feel like something that, they might be at a distance from you and there might be nothing that they can really do at this point in time. It might be a matter of waiting for better timing or waiting for other kind of circumstances to close out in their life or to close out or to open in your life before the opportunity will really present itself for this forward momentum, for this communication to take place. But in that interim and kind of that waiting or that holding pattern, there is a lot that is being thought about. There is a lot that is being felt, that is being assessed and analyzed. This feels like somebody who's in this process also of kind of information gathering, strategizing, planning that next move so that when the time is right, when the energies open up, when they are freed to communicate or they feel or notice or are able to observe that you are in a place of receptivity, or the circumstances align to where a meeting between you can be orchestrated, or maybe a mutual friend kind of passes on that information that they've been asking about you. They were wishing well, they're curious about you, any number of things that when all of these kind of circumstances come into alignment, that they are then able to sort of speak that truth that they've been holding on to. But there is this element of fear of almost thinking about, is it better to just kind of leave things where they are? Is it better to just kind of hold on to this, to not speak this truth? So it almost feels like this energy of circumstances keeping them at a distance, keeping them at bay, but a lot of this being very internal, this kind of resistance or this stubbornness, maybe a sense of too much time has passed, too much damage was done in the past, an uncertainty about how receptive you are to them, or even just kind of the physical element of it's very difficult now to contact you. Lines of communication may have been sort of permanently shut down, or it's going to take a little more creativity for this person to be able to kind of step out of the shadows and to really announce their presence to you, to speak that truth, to deliver that clarity, to come back into that sort of harmonious energy where the communication is free flowing, where you're both building towards something mutual, toward this prosperity in this connection. Recognizing as well that they may be at a loss at this point in time because of, again, things that you have been cultivating within yourself and within your life, that is now they are really tasked to kind of do the same, to have something adequate to bring to the table instead of the energy that you might have been dealing with them in the past. So I'm going to read the channeled love letter from your person now, from their higher self, and see what do they want to tell you, group 1. I have kept you waiting, holding on to this love all alone for far too long. I keep rubbing my eyes, trying to shake the sleep from my vision, but the image of you is etched firmly in my mind. I don't want to continue delaying with stale excuses that no longer have me convinced of all the reasons I once believed were so necessary to keep us apart. I'm walking away from what no longer serves me, or at least I'm trying to imagine that I can, finally. Why do you love me as much as you do? I feel that in so many ways I am beyond saving. I know I keep projecting my gaze outward when deliverance can only truly come from within. Can you feel me start to peel back the layers and barricades I have had around the idea of us? I want to run to you, and yet we've come so far in this stalemate that it seems a daunting task to present myself in any other energy to you. I am exhausted and am collapsing into your energy at this time, hoping that a fraction of the light you keep will revive me in the ways we both need it to. So I'm going to close this reading with some initials for you. This can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got U, X, Q, Y, S, K, E, M, L, T, D, N, I, Z, and H. So those are your messages, and that is your channeled love letter, group 1. I hope that the messages and the letter resonated with you and that you enjoyed the video. If you liked the reading, please give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. When you do that, it helps the video to reach others who might resonate with these messages, get some kind of peace or confirmation from what came through in this reading, and it also helps my channel to grow, so I deeply appreciate that. If you would like a personal reading or a personalized channeled love letter, I offer both through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I also sell handmade jewelry and dreamcatchers and suncatchers in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, group 2. You chose the orange pumpkin along with this letter, which I'll read in a minute. I'm going to start with some tarot to get a feel for what's going on between you and this person currently, where their energy's at, some zodiac signs for group 2. Okay, so we have the Empress, which is Libra and Taurus. So this can talk about Somebody who is thinking back on your energy and how nurturing you are, how safe they felt with you. Somebody who is leaning more into the feminine polarity within them, regardless of gender. This is the energy of receptivity, of listening, of again, receiving. Somebody who's really taking inventory of their life and what they've created, what surrounds them, and someone who's really starting to kind of sift through that and to determine what are they feeding their energy into? What is that really giving back to them? This can even relate to ideas and belief systems about love that this person is starting to really call into question and see, how has this been serving them? Or how have some of these ideas, even distortions that they may have really embodied as a result of heartbreaks from the past or something with their childhood, growing up, that might have led to certain ideas about the nature of love and partnership, that they're really starting to assess. Is this serving their highest good? Is this something, kind of an energy that they want to keep feeding into moving forward? Or is this something that, it's time to let these things go or to upgrade these ideas somehow? And we've also got the Emperor, so Aries energy, and this can talk about somebody who's really battling their ego at this point in time. Somebody who is, again, really taking this inventory, this stock of what they have going on in their life, what they have created for themselves, how their belief systems have, what's going on internally, how that has directly affected what their outward circumstances are looking like. So a lot of this balancing between this receptive energy and this masculine polarity of energy, again, gender aside, this is very action oriented. Somebody who takes charge. It's kind of the more logical energy as opposed to the emotive energy. So somebody who's really seeking out to balance the head and the heart as well in terms of this connection, in terms of kind of getting a bigger perspective about how they were showing up, how they might have been able to show up better in the connection in the past, and sort of what is necessary within them, changes that are necessary in order to alter the circumstances between you moving forward. With the appearance of the Empress and the Emperor, this person, you could resonate as a twin flame, or you can consider this person your soulmate. This really speaks that the two of you are kind of mirroring each other at this point in time in terms of, again, this energy of sort of taking inventory, taking stock of where you are at in your life, seeking to release things that no longer sort of serve your highest good in order to move in the direction of creating a life that you are more excited about, creating a life that is more in alignment with who you are, that both of you are really going through this. A lot of energy exchange between the both of you. There could also be a lot where you're picking up energetically on what's going on from this person and vice versa. So kind of this process of needing to sift through and kind of weigh out to determine what is coming from them versus what is coming from you. A lot of change and upheaval that, again, both of you are most likely really feeling and sensing at this point in time. Almost two people who won't necessarily be able to reach out and ask for help for one another in a 3D sense, but energetically are really leaning upon each other at this point in time, at this point of flux and of change. A sense of the two of you really coming into greater alignment with each other, working very intimately from that higher self level to sort of bring about change in the 3D reality for one another, to bring you more into alignment with your higher purpose in this lifetime and kind of the next stage of your life, and some big changes that need to happen, some new chapters that need to open as kind of other chapters close out in different areas. This can also talk about somebody who is starting to recognize you as their twin flame, recognize you as their soulmate. And even if they don't necessarily have that language or resonate with any of those terms, there's this feeling of closeness with you, things that they might have kind of overlooked in the past or taken for granted. They're starting to really recognize you as a very complementary energy to them. Even this energy of kind of this opposites attract, and yet somehow the two of you just really mesh well together. And we've also got the Six of Pentacles. So this is Earth energy, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. And this can talk about somebody who's feeding more into this connection, somebody who wants to kind of make the changes that are necessary in order to be able to present you with a better version of themselves than you were dealing with previously. Somebody who's starting to come into a lot of awareness about some wounds or distortions that they may have been holding on to kind of were a disservice to this connection, that they really missed out on the opportunity to experience sort of this reciprocity with you because of some unhealed things, some voids within themselves that almost were, taking more than they were giving into this connection in the past. There's this desire, this thought that they are having about maybe stepping forward out of a period of silence, giving consideration to that. What would that look like if they were to participate more in this connection instead of running from this connection? If they were to, turn in the other direction and move towards you, move towards participating with this, opening their mind to this, opening their heart to this, starting to see what kind of benefits could really come from that. Somebody who's also starting to really recognize and sort of look back in hindsight and see that, even the very simple moments that you shared together were so important to them. They're starting to cherish these things more as other things are kind of falling away from their life, and really, again, starting to appreciate what you had at one point in time. And there's this desire to kind of give more, if they are to return to you, to be able to give more of themselves than they were capable of giving in the past. We also have the King of Pentacles, so more of that earth energy, and this can talk about somebody who's working on their finances, trying to build up their self-esteem, trying to, secure a position for themselves in the material world. This could be somebody who really equates kind of their self-esteem and their value on kind of what they have achieved, what they have accomplished in a material sense. Somebody who's looking to create more stability for themselves in order to have something of value to really offer. This can also talk about apology in the form of changed action. Somebody who's really wanting to be able to follow through with consistency on sort of these declarations that they have a desire to make. Somebody who might be holding back also from communicating at this point in time because they want to be sure that when they open their heart to you, when they move back in the direction of this connection, it's something that's stable. They've reached that point of stability and security within themselves and within their life that, they do have the ability to be consistent with you. They do have the ability to follow through. They do have the ability to demonstrate that they've moved away from some things that were not serving them or that were kind of a wedge in this connection, that they've cultivated for themselves in some way, maybe a healthier lifestyle, some kind of new financial stability for themselves, something where they feel good about what it is they're doing, what it is they're participating in, leading a life of meaning and contributing something of value also to the world around them. We've got the Knight of Swords, so air energy, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. And this can talk about some quick communication that they are in the midst of really planning, this desire to step forth, to speak some kind of truth to you, to cut away from the energy of stagnation and uncertainty that they might have been in the past, to move out of this stance of resistance and step more into a flow with this connection. This can also talk about, again, kind of this element of things really being mirrored between the both of you, that there's a velocity that's happening in real time, the changes that are happening within both of you, kind of the process of really balancing things out, any kind of acts of self-love that you are both engaged in are really having an influence upon one another. It's creating this motivation. It's something that is really, again, being felt very, very much in real time, very much in the material sense. One of you might be more conscious of this than the other, but it's nonetheless being transferred energetically. Knight of Swords can also talk about a lot of telepathy that's taking place, a lot of thoughts, a lot of racing thoughts as well about what a new beginning would look like, what is necessary, what steps need to be taken, a lot of plans that are being enacted at this time as far as, again, preparations that need to be made, a place of stability in a material sense, or just in terms of kind of the life that they have built, constructed for themselves, and things they're surrounding themselves with, people they're surrounding themselves with, relationships they are nurturing or need to cut out of their life, that really set the stage for being able to offer something of substance and value to you in the future. We've also got the Nine of Wands, so fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And this is the card of the wounded warrior. So somebody who's really dealing with a lot of heartbreaks from the past, somebody who's recognizing that a certain element of guardedness that they may have had regarding love and connections, maybe a pessimism about love, that it really, it deprived them of an opportunity to, experience something deeper with you than they had in the past. They're starting to recognize that they really have gotten in their own way in this situation, and a lot of of other areas of their life as well, how fear has really been holding them back. Somebody who's really starting to crystallize wisdom out of the experiences of the past, to take what is necessary and kind of move away from what no longer serves. Somebody who's being tasked with kind of letting that guard down, implementing these kind of practices and these beliefs and these efforts at self-love, infusing that into themselves, but also recognizing that, they're nearing a point or have come to a point where sort of the next step in that, the next stage in that of really making good on the work they've been doing within them, is to kind of bring that out in a material sense, that there's only so far this internal work can take them, that it really requires stepping out of that comfort zone, letting that guard down, letting those walls down, being willing to trust in the magic of new beginnings, trust in the ability that, whatever comes out of this circumstance between you, coming towards you, coming back together, that there's the potential for healing for both of you, either in the form of closure or, really trusting in that the changes that they are making will be sufficient to kind of initiate a new start in this connection moving forward. So I'm going to read the channeled love letter from your person now, group 2, and see what do they want you to know from their higher self at this time. My masks are beginning to crack wide open. Somehow, despite my best efforts to push you away, you have managed to seep in through unguarded seams in the twilight hour and fill me with that radiance you hold within. I have always been so fond of you, though I could never admit it, not completely. It was so unfair of me to keep you guessing, to leave you to infer the meaning behind intimate gestures and lingering looks that revealed a world of adoration beyond words directly spoken. I miss the closeness we once shared, and all the innuendos that helped me to feel alive again in a most peculiar way. I know you wanted the simplest of things from me, consistency and a belief in a love which defies explanation. These memories of us and those priceless collection of moments are becoming like faded photographs I have examined all the angles of and know by heart. I need only close my eyes and I'm right there with you, back at the start, before things became so complicated. I have never forgotten your face or the doorway to forever I recognized in your eyes. So I'm going to close this reading with some initials. This can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got O, U, P, F, I, A, R, W, T, Q, M, H, D, G, V, N, and L. So those are your messages, and that is your channeled love letter group 2. I hope the messages resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. When you do that, it helps the video to reach others who might resonate with these messages, might get some kind of peace or confirmation from what came through. And it also helps my channel to grow, so I deeply appreciate that as well. If you would like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop. Or if you'd like a personalized channeled love letter, I offer those as well through my Etsy shop. And there is a link in the description box of the video for that. I also sell handmade jewelry and dreamcatchers and suncatchers in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. You chose the green pumpkin along with this letter, which I will read in a minute. I'm going to start with some tarot to get a feel for what's going on in this connection currently, the energies between you and this person, where they're at with things, some zodiac signs as well. Okay, so we have the Six of Cups, which is water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. So this person is sitting in some energy of nostalgia right now, thinking back on memories of the times they shared with you, maybe looking at old photographs, reading back over texts or chats or emails. Somebody who's in kind of a reflective period right now, this desire to kind of return back to a fresh energy with you. Somebody who might also be kind of sitting in some regret over a missed opportunity, a chance not taken, things they wish that they could have done better, said better in this situation. A lot of anger that may have been released as well, and a lot of frustration that they have released that has been replaced with kind of this energy of the beginner's mind, somebody who is able to maybe see things from your perspective now, or is willing to sort of take a wider perspective on what has occurred between you in the past. This can also talk about some inner child wounding that may have been triggered by the dynamic or something that really came up between you that this person's in this process of working on. They're in the process of recognizing. It is being shown to them in other capacities where they are no longer able to necessarily project blame onto others, but are really needing to start to take responsibility for themselves, start to really heal some unhealed things within them that they've been carrying around that is kind of limited their ability to experience joy in a lot of ways, closeness with other people in a lot of different ways. Again, things that might have interfered with this connection previously. And they're recognizing that in order to really turn this sort of wish or dream or fantasy of reconciliation into a reality, it begins with them. It begins with some work that they need to do. They might be recognizing as well that energetically or in things they're able to kind of see and observe, maybe on social media, if you've sort of been very public about your journey, your self-healing journey, some work you've done on yourself, anything about your spirituality, a spiritual path, this person is able to observe that and is very inspired by that. And it's really starting to kind of point the way for them, or kind of resonate with them in terms of some aspects of their own kind of individual interior landscape that need to be sort of tightened up or cleaned up within themselves. This might be work that they've been avoiding for quite some time, some shadow work, or again, some unhealed wounds, difficulties from their childhood or from past heartbreaks, first love, young love, early romance, and that they're really seeing you as an example of kind of the work that one puts into themselves to overcome these things. And on the other side of that, sort of the difficulties of that process is the ability to really step into a better version of self. This is somebody who, may also have been kind of emotionally immature in the past and is recognizing that they need to really work on that. They need to work on being open, being vulnerable, expressing their emotions, leaning into that kind of emotional body, in order to, be able to kind of evolve the connection past wherever things currently are at, or somebody who's recognizing that that will be necessary in order for a fresh start to really take place in a way that is meaningful and long lasting. And we've also got the Chariot, which is Cancer energy. So this can talk about somebody who's at a distance from you, a geographic distance, having this desire to move towards you, to reach out maybe even from afar and make contact. Some kind of a shift has happened. Some kind of a perspective has opened to this person that, again, balancing within themselves is necessary before change can occur in this situation in a significant way. It feels that something major has shifted with them. This person might have gotten some kind of an epiphany, or again, some kind of work that they've been doing on themselves to heal something within themselves, to really forgive themselves, to come to a place of reconciliation within themselves first and foremost. It's almost like they've reached a breakthrough. They've turned a corner. Some major cycle has closed out for them, and it has opened up a new horizon of possibilities of what they know they need to work on and what is possible in this connection as well. We've also got the Four of Pentacles, so Earth energy, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. And this can talk about somebody who has been really stuck, stubborn, and resistant to this connection that is almost loosening that stance. They're ready to kind of do something within that kind of closed energy. They might be sort of putting other people at a distance. This is almost feels kind of like hermit energy, where they're kind of going deeply within. They're recognizing that, they can't keep seeking outside of themselves for remedies, that the solution really, it's in that internal landscape. The work begins within first and foremost. They could be cutting out a lot of distractions, kind of closing themselves off, again, kind of going into that stance of hiding, of hibernation, in order to really become very honest with themselves, do this kind of work within themselves. Or this has really taken place in this kind of blocked off energy. Maybe you haven't, they could, if they're in your life, have been still be sort of emotionally distant. But there's a lot that's been going on beneath the surface, movement that's been happening. Things that they have really been kind of taking to heart, seeds that have been planted within them that are starting to germinate. It's starting to make sense. There's a lot of cleanup work internally, which really sets the stage. It's very necessary for change in the external circumstances between you, to come out of this blocked energy, to loosen that kind of stance, and to move more into that space of receptivity, to be able to receive the love that you have to give, and to give something of value in kind. And we've also got the Hierophant, which is Taurus energy. And this can talk about, again, kind of these belief systems, mindsets around love, things from childhood, things that have been deeply ingrained within this person, some kind of a tradition or a pattern of how they had been showing up as well in connections or expectations that they've had, that all of this is really being kind of broken down within them. They're starting to look at this. They're starting to become aware of this. This can also talk of the energy of kind of ascension in a spiritual journey, somebody who's leaning more into that, not looking so much to deflect or distract from that internal work that they need to do, but somebody who's really recognizing that the power is in their hands to make these changes, that the time is now to make these changes. Somebody who's starting to embark upon that kind of closing off to the outside world in a certain extent to do that work from within. Or in this closed off period, there's been some kind of an elevation, some kind of an ascension that has taken place, a corner that they have turned, some cycles that they have closed out, and really feels a lot of that is self-forgiveness that they've been working on, being very gentle with themselves, being, again, forgiving of themselves in order to kind of move past some of these barriers of this sort of stance, of this rigid stance that they might have taken about, the nature of love and partnership, how that looks, how that needs to play out as well. This can also talk about this can be a card of marriage or long-term commitment. And so this person can really be also seriously considering that. What do they have to bring to the table in terms of a long-term partnership? This could be somebody who is really sort of expecting a lot, but not giving a whole lot in return. And they're really recognizing that, they need to do that internal work to become that love that they are seeking. Somebody who's starting to turn that lens inward, that gaze inward, to see what do they have to offer as a spouse, as a long-term partner. What are some things that they need to work on, that they need to, kind of release and let go of in order to create that safe space within them where a love that is lasting is able to grow. We've got the Emperor, which is Aries energy. And so this can talk about some pride and ego that this person is in, that they are battling. There could be a lot of resistance to some of these processes. It's a lot of very hard truths. It's a lot of ways in which they had moved through the world, maybe for quite some time. Being in that very logical energy, not being very comfortable expressing their emotions. Again, kind of an emotional immaturity, and the need to kind of break down those barriers within themselves to step into that gentle energy, that energy of receptivity. This can really also talk about taking their power back from belief systems, narratives, heartbreaks of the past, experiences of the past that had almost contorted or limited the way in which they'd been able to show up in love previously. Somebody with kind of a blocked heart chakra, closed off, mind or view about love, that they weren't really giving the best of themselves. They weren't living up to their potential in that capacity. And they're in this process of kind of dismantling a lot of that, really stepping into this place where they are recognizing that the love they hold inside is worthy of being received and seen and experienced by others. That despite what they might have done, no matter how egregious in their past, that there's always the possibility of redemption. That forgiveness starts first and foremost with self, and that by stepping into that energy, they've then been able to kind of move beyond these things in some way to open themselves to the possibility of new experiences going forward. And we also have the Nine of Cups, so more of that water energy. And this talks about an element of satisfaction, that again, a corner has been turned with this person. There's a lightness which has replaced some heaviness or some density, some pessimism that they might have held inside before. This is what the work that they are doing is moving them in the direction of. Becoming very okay with what has happened in their past, even with what has happened between you in the past, learning to accept that and understanding that, there's always the possibility to do something different, that, however closed off or however limited or stubborn they might have been in this situation previously, there's always the opportunity to, open up emotionally, to give more than they had in the past, and that by giving more, they enhance their capacity to receive. Somebody who is focusing on their own well-being, on self-love, infusing themselves with that love that they hadn't received from others in the past, working to become that partner that they want to experience in another, taking back their power from situations. And very much in terms of this reconciliation energy, there is this desire, as all of this work is going on within them, taking place within them, there's a desire to really turn the page in the situation with you, to be able to present themselves in a way that is more mature, is more self-assured, is more compassionate toward themselves, and therefore able to show up in a different kind of energy to you moving forward. So a lot of thoughts on the past and the good times you shared, but also this energy of sort of thinking toward the future, on what can be created out of these circumstances. How can this situation be altered? What needs to be given or provided or proved or shown by this person in order to kind of move out of wherever you are currently, to kind of unblock or to alleviate the pressure in this situation and move more in the direction of, a dynamic that is very satisfactory to the both of you. So I'm going to read the love letter from your person now, group 3, and see what do they want you to know from their higher self. I have a decision to make that will change everything for us. I feel that if I do not act soon, then I will lose you forever. I sense a new cycle beginning for you. I feel a future which does not include me drawing closer into your orbit. I have created so many unnecessary delays in this circumstance. Many of the people who I listened to that said I should try to love you less have evaporated from my sphere of influence. They left me, confused and wanting, just as you said they would. Why did I forfeit our happiness so readily? I think about what it would be like to hold you again, to create the opportunity to make up for lost time and to return to a place where we are aligned with what we know is possible between us. I've let you down. I've put myself out in the cold. This winter without you seems to stretch for an eternity. You have done enough in this situation, and it was never your fault that things fell apart. You are all I have been looking for all along, and I'm seeing that clearly now. I will find a way forward. I will find my way back to you. So I'm going to close this reading with some initials. This can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got G, A, L, M, R, Y, T, K, Z, N, E, I, H, Q, X, U, and F. So those are your messages, and that is your channeled love letter, group 3. I hope that the messages resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. When you do that, it helps the video to reach others who might resonate with these messages, get some kind of peace or confirmation from what came through in the reading, and it also helps my channel to grow, so I deeply appreciate that. If you'd like a personal reading or a personalized channeled love letter, I offer both through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I also sell handmade jewelry, dreamcatchers, and suncatchers in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.